welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how do you create really high performing meta ads. And I'm going to focus on a couple of things. First of all, not just helping you create one high performing ad creative, because even if you have a really high performing one, it's only a matter of time before it doesn't perform that great. And then you're back to ground zero if you don't know how to recreate that process, right? And the second thing that I'm going to focus on is making sure you don't have to spend a ton of time, a ton of money on high production ad creatives, a ton of time digging through ads manager data, right? Because that's super stressful and you don't have time for that. So instead, I'm going to share my exact process that I follow. The past 2 years, my success rate has been 100% from following this strategy. I've 2, 3x, even 5x some of my clients' performance by following this process. But quick 60-second story time for you. So I remember in 2018, I saw a video similar to this one that I'm making you today. It was this guy, he had spent millions of dollars and had found some formula, right, for how to make every single ad perform. And I remember I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I was in WeWork at the time, floor 24. I literally remember the very moment. And I asked my creative director, like, do you think this guy's full of shit? Because we were creating like 40 to 60 ad creatives per week for our clients. And our success rate was like under 10% of those that would work. And then even if we did find an ad creative that worked, it was only a matter of time, like I mentioned before, that it just stopped working. And then we would be back to like on this hamster wheel of just always chasing ad performance. It was absolutely exhausting. And I remember just being like, I don't know, is this even possible? So now I can tell you, it took me about 3 more years before I started getting it. But it is true that there are structures and processes that you can go through to have a very high success rate. Maybe not 100%. Like at some point, I'm sure I'll work with somebody that my process doesn't work on, but it's very high. So today we're going to focus on 3 main things. Number 1, picking the right ad structure to start with. Because even if you're testing a ton and you're iterating like my team was doing, if you don't have the right structure to start with, then you're not going to make big enough gains to where you're ever going to actually get to the point where you're thriving with paid ads, meaning you're making a lot of money consistently with stability. We're going to talk about the testing process itself, and then we're also going to talk about iteration, because that's a huge part. It's actually the easiest part, but it's very, very important. So the bulk of our time today, we're going to spend on structure. So let's just dive in. The way I want you to think about this part is if you could pick people in your industry to be in a mastermind with you where you guys sit around a table and you talk about what's working on ads, what kinds of content are working best to sell products, what types of content are working best to engage people on these social platforms, who would you pick to be around that table with you? For me, I would pick Marie Forleo, I would pick Amy Porterfield, and I would pick this girl that I found recently, Maria Wendt. She just grew this Instagram following in the past year, which is super hard to do. The past year, the algorithm has been very difficult to grow with, so I would definitely want her in my mastermind. So now as I check out all of their live ads and their organic posts, and I look at their views and all those things, I'm going to be able to essentially be learning from them and learning from all the volume that they're spending on ads and that they're doing by posting to their large organic following. The next place I'm going to go is go to Ads Library. So there are 3 main places that I pull my information from. Ads Library, which is Meta's product that shows all active ads at all times. They have a full transparency model now where you can always see any brand's active ads. I'm also going to check out foreplay.co, which is a paid platform. I'm not an affiliate for them, nor am I really promoting them, but I do use them. I think it's like $50 a month, and basically it's Ads Library, but it's recorded. So things that I won't see on Ads Library, I can see here because it's from the past. So it's kind of like a more of a history of Ads Library, if you will. And then I'm also going to look at Instagram.com. I'm going to, look at the organic Instagram presence of any of my competitors or inspirational brands that I'm pulling for. And the reason for this is Instagram, like if you're scrolling through Instagram and something catches your attention, you don't immediately know if that was an ad or a post. You might know that later. You might look up to see if you can see that little sponsor, right? But you're not going to know that immediately. So it's important to know that things that catch and capture attention on this platform, it is agnostic to whether it's an organic post, meaning somebody posted for free, or somebody paid to post. It's the same. So that's important that we can pull from data organically when it's relevant. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at what types of ads are working well for my inspirational brands that I've picked. So I'm going to look at things like, are these static images? Are they carousels? Are they GIFs? Are they videos? I'm going to specifically focus on video because I know that video is an excellent format to present my product to new people. And speaking of presenting to new people, we call this top of funnel, meaning that there are people who have never heard of you before, and then they'll trickle down to where they'll ultimately buy from you, hopefully. But what I want to focus on is top of funnel, because if something is like showing to one of Marie's, audiences that's a retargeting audience for her and it works really well, it doesn't mean it will work well for me. So I really want to see, how do you present your brand to a new audience? Because that's what I'm trying to do, right? So I'm going to try to guess based on these ads, like, do I think she's showing these to a new audience? And basically, you can usually tell the way that you present yourself. If you're like, hey, I noticed you didn't check out a second ago when you were on my site, she literally has an ad like that. So I'm like, okay, that's retargeting. Sometimes it's not that easy to know, but a lot of times it is. So that's the first thing. Whenever I check out her content, like, do I think it's being used on top of funnel, new people? The second thing is, do I have the time and resources to recreate that ad? Like, does it make sense for me? Because obviously these bigger people have bigger budgets, bigger teams, more access to resources. So I'm going to filter through this content for things that are easy and accessible for me to recreate myself. Now, one quick thing that I do want to mention, you do want to make sure that before you're checking out a lot of ads, that they are indeed active on a lot of ads. So you can see this in Ads Library. You can see when they went active and if they're still active, right? So this one was launched on September 18th. It's the 20th. So I don't know if this ad is working well or not yet, right? She'll probably let it be live for a few days before she would pause it, or her team. Obviously, it's probably not her running these. So I'm going to want to find something that's been live for a while. This has been live almost 1 full year. And when I look at the offer, it's 322 free tools. So she is doing a lead generation offer here. It's almost for sure showing to new people, right? Because she's trying to generate new leads for her business. And it's almost for sure working. So this could be an example of a type of ad that I might recreate in Canva. It looks like she has kind of a screenshot of that giveaway here. And then she has a big title here of, exactly what the dream outcome is: start or grow your business with these free resources. Before I jump into the videos, I just want to mention too, Maria is live on a lot of ads. This means she's spending a lot. If somebody just has like 1 or 2 ads active, they're probably not spending that much. Usually the more ads that are active, the more they're spending per month. So I would guess that Marie spends more than $200,000 a month based on all these ads that she has live, at least $100,000 a month. So that's important to note. And real quick, just like clicking through some of my other examples, this is Amy Porterfield. She actually launched a lot of ads today, which is interesting. All of these guys launch a ton of ads. And so they're constantly iterating on what's working best for them, right? And getting better and better and better. So it's great for us to, look at, even the newest ads are fine to look at, but a lot of times they're testing some new concepts as well. So usually somewhere, in the middle, things that have been live for a bit, that are still working well. Wow, she launched a ton of things today. Like this one actually was launched last September. It's still active. So that's really interesting. This is more of a static. This is a video though. It was also launched last September, so I could take a look at that. And here's a carousel. Again, launched last September, still active. So that's an excellent example actually of a static, a video, and a carousel, all that have obviously been very successful for her, so I could check those out. So as I look through these videos, let's open a couple of these videos up and just show you what it looks like to assess. Could I create this for my brand or business easily? Oh, so this is just a GIF. That's very easy, right? I could easily do that. I could have my designer do it in Canva. Super easy. Let's look at this one.
Seeing money come in from your side hustle, you're going to have all the courage you need to say, see ya, to that 9-to-5 job. So to help you do that, I created a free resource.
Okay, so this looks like probably just talking head. I'm going to click through just to make sure. Yep. So she just talks the whole time. Very easy for me to recreate. I would just have to get a good, strong script together, which I'll show you how I kind of pull from the structure of her script here in a second. So that's definitely something that I could recreate. Let me look at some of Marie Forleo's stuff. Let's see. This one was active September 10th. Let's scroll back a little bit. These are her lead gen. I want to see something a little bit different. July 16th, 2024. Let's look at this one.
What do you want most right now? Is it to make more money, finish that novel, travel through Tuscany? I can show you how to get it in 3 simple steps. Grab my...
Okay, so this is very easy to recreate as well. I just have different B-roll videos of me. You know, it looks like 1 to 2 second clips, more 2 seconds. She's not editing super fast. So I could literally just get probably like 8 to 10 clips of me, 2 seconds each in different environments, right? And then I do a speaking script over that. And then I have the text pop up on the screen with subtitles and boom, we're good, right? So this is a great example of something that could work well. So here, there are some statics I could check out. There are more videos. One thing that I'm just like noticing from glancing at this is Marie especially is running a lot of B-roll of her. All of these, I've checked out a few of them. They're all B-roll. So that's a really interesting learning. Whenever I look at the other examples, I'm gonna also see like, are they doing a lot of B-roll? Amy Porterfield seems like she's doing more talking heads, like just her talking. So maybe it's not a perfect learning, you know, cross accounts, but in the spirit of having a little mastermind of what's working for people, I could conclude that B-roll with a script over it is working well. And then also talking heads, which is like basically where you're just talking to the camera. So if I have a couple of, you know, things that are working well so far, it's those two. Now I also have this kind of like an image of me, if I were recreating it with a big like headline and offering something. So that's also something that, you know, could work. Now these look a little bit different. Let's take a look at these. Okay, this is good. They told me I shouldn't give it away for free, but get a sneak peek of my digital course, you know? So this is really easy to recreate. I just scroll through one of my products and then I have like a couple of amounts of text on the screen to kind of show like what I'm offering. The more difficult thing here would be like, if I'm not prepared to give a sneak peek, then I would have to like build a little sneak peek and I would have to figure out what that looks like for my business. So maybe that's a little bit like not something I can really do easily. So maybe I don't want to try to recreate that for now. But those are just some of the thoughts I have as I go through. Now, I've picked one video that I'm going to be actually next week launching an organic strategy on Instagram with. And it's pretty complicated, but I want to show you like my process of doing this. So with Maria Wendt, or however you say her last name, I found this particular reel. I looked at the views. All of these have, not all of them, but some of them have a lot of views compared to other ones. Like this one, 64,000 views. But for my purposes, at the time, I picked this one. It had the most views. And I want to show you what I did. But whenever I click into this, you'll see the post. It's very dynamically edited, but it's actually not that difficult, right? Like she's literally just like filming her computer screen. She has some B-roll of her in different environments. She has some, you know, proof of her success in the beginning. So that's something that I could easily recreate myself. And it clearly is doing really well. Now, whenever I look at the rest of her posts here, a lot of them are edited in the same way. I haven't seen this one. So let's see what this one is. Oh, I have seen this one. I remember. So literally just B-roll of her working with a little bit of text over the screen. I made $7 million in 4 years. Here's 21 things every checkout page must have. So she's saying like, I have the dream outcome of having made millions of dollars, and I'm going to give you exactly what I've learned from all this information, right? And then she basically has some supporting text here to go with that. But that's so easy to recreate. That's so easy to recreate. Basically, you prove that you know what you're talking about, and then you offer something, you know, as a result of that, and over some sped up B-roll of me working. And it's not even, look at that ceiling. It's okay. Like she looks very cute, right? But it's not like rocket science video, right? And again, it doesn't matter that this is organic versus paid. It's one platform. People are seeing one, piece of content and they don't know immediately if it's an ad or a post, so it doesn't matter, right? So what I did is I came in here for the first one that I just showed you, and I basically screenshotted all of the frames in this video, and I then gave myself some notes down here of what the point of that frame was. And it's important to look at both text and visuals. So by text, it can mean the text over the screen like she has here, but it also can be the script, where a lot of times you'll have it with subtitles, right, up on the screen as you're reading through the script. So this one has both. So in a way, it has three elements. It has the visuals of the video, it has the text over the screen, and then it has the script. So it's important to know what those three elements are and to assess what each part they play. So here, let's take a look at this. The hook. What is this hook? So she says, how to pick $1 million topic for your course. So that's the dream outcome, is making $1 million from creating a course, right? So she's not only saying that here, but she's also supporting it with showing what it looks like to maybe be a millionaire, right? I mean, Louis Vuitton is not like that expensive, I guess, but it's showing success. And I think it's so funny. She has a Louis Vuitton bag, but she's like walking into Louis Vuitton, so it makes no sense. But it doesn't matter because it shows what she's trying to show, which is success. And then she goes here to show proof of her success, because this is important. You can claim it, but is it really you, right? So she starts showing some proof of her success, and then she shows herself like really happy. She starts introducing herself, but she shows more proof of her making this money. And it's pretty funny because she has like her refunds up here, which is totally fine refund rate, but it's pretty funny to have that right here. But nobody cares because it's so fast and they only see this. They see big numbers. So they don't even process in the video what the big numbers mean. It just means like, oh yeah, she's made a lot of money, right? So that's really funny. And then here she just shows some like happy images. Like, it's funny, working by a pool, you feel like she's successful, right? Like she's just chill, working out by her pool, right? So that's interesting. And then she goes into teaching what she's, trying to teach you in the video, which in the beginning is how to pick $1 million topic for your course. So she shows you, there are 2 steps in this video, but she kind of changes frames with the video a lot. So it's very dynamic to watch. And then here, just more B-roll of her to kind of splice into the mix. It doesn't really make sense with what she's saying in the video. It's just to change what the viewer is seeing, right? And then she has this like funny little, it's almost like a hook for the call to action, something that you're not used to seeing. And you're like, what is this? So she creates a little bit of anticipation with that, which is cute. And then, she has her call to action here. So that is my structure now that I'm going to start building all of my organic content on, but I will also use this for paid ads as I launch my first course in the next couple of weeks. So you can also break down a video to this level if you want, but you don't have to, right? You could look at a video like this one and you could get the basic idea, right? That she is, showing proof of success in the beginning, from her strategy that she's claiming can make people $1 million, and she's going to show you how to do it. And she does that, and then she offers you something at the end. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of figure that out. And you don't have to have every single element of the video perfect, because she doesn't, right? She's like walking into Louis Vuitton with a Louis Vuitton bag. Makes no sense. She has big refunds at the top of one of her videos that nobody even notices, right? So it's not about all the details. It's about the vibe. It's about the message that you get across by the text, the script, and the visuals. So cool. So now that hopefully by going through this process for you, you come up with 1 or 2 structures that you can use to start building your ad on. I recommend, honestly, just editing in Instagram or CapCut. It's so easy once you get the hang of it. There are a ton of YouTube videos out there that will teach you how to do this. So that's usually what I recommend. And then let's talk about the script. So the honest to God truth is I always upload videos into Slack because I'm on Slack all the time. And then it pulls the transcript for me and I literally just copy paste like this. any video that I want to recreate the script, I go into ChatGPT and I have a couple of prompts here. I'll include these in the show notes so that you have them. But I basically give ChatGPT some information about my audience and my product. And then I have this prompt here that it will make me this great, beautiful table about my customers' frustrations, desires, dreams, and fears. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll paste, which I'll show you an example down here. Like I'll paste this little prompt and say, based on the above table, can you replicate the below information for my business? So if I had pulled, this script by downloading it, which by the way, you can go in here, you can copy the link, and then I usually just go to snapinsta.app, and then you can paste the link in here and download it, and you'll get the downloaded video. So that's how I get the original video. But once you have that, I use Slack. There are other video transcription platforms, so you can find one out there. And once you get that transcript, then you can paste that transcript into ChatGPT and just say, based on the above information about my business, which you don't even have to do this if you don't want, but I'll include it in the show notes if you want it. But you can just give ChatGPT some basic information about your business and your product, and then you can say, based on the above information, can you replicate the below script for my business? And then you paste the script in, and it will create you something that's pretty good. You do have to once over it, right? Your human brain is still better than ChatGPT, so you do need to once over it, but it gets you so far toward a really high performing script that can copy, again, the structure of what you found that is working well. So that's how I do that. And then as far as the ad text itself, which does matter, by the way, you can do the same thing. You can, click into here and like ads library, you can copy paste this, throw it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create something similar for your business. Again, you do have to do a once over, see if you need to edit anything, make any changes, and then you literally have your high performing ad structure and ad to test ready to go. But that's just step one. The next two steps are going to be testing and iterating. Now, I'm going to spend more time in future videos on these two parts because really they both deserve their own video. But I want to just kind of round out this experience for you today as you create a really high performing ad structure. And essentially by doing that, you get a new ad out of it to test. How do you test it? And then what do you do next? The first thing with testing is you never want to touch your base. The base, you usually feel it because the algorithm spends the most money on it. So it can be like your top audience and your top ad. And you can see that ad gets most of the spend. Even if it doesn't do that well, just know that's where most of your data is. That's what that means. If the algorithm is spending that much, it's because it knows the most about your customer base there. And usually it doesn't make sense to pause that out because you're literally all that data that you just paid for, like if you pause it out, then it basically goes back to zero. So except in very rare cases, you want to test against whatever your base is. And by base, again, I mean whatever's getting the volume. You want to test against that. You don't want to pause it out and start yourself over again, right? The next thing is social proof is king. So if one ad has a lot of likes, comments, and shares and the other one doesn't, the one with likes, comments, and shares will always win. The algorithm was actually built that way. So you've got to let your new ads get a little bit of social proof first before you start judging whether or not they could work. Every account kind of takes creatives a little bit differently. And by that, I mean, I've worked on some accounts that like within 2 days, new creatives are popping off. And then I've worked in some accounts, even though they're spending tons of money, that new creatives take 2 to 3 weeks to kind of pick up speed. So you've got to feel in your account, and it's more of an intuition thing and kind of feeling when creatives start to take off. You got to feel when that is and then build your processes around that. Now, let's say that you start testing your new ad and also more new ads that you will be able to recreate from going through this process I've shared today. Okay, the last step is iteration. So this is the most important in some ways, but it's also the easiest. So that's good. Essentially, all you're going to do as you start testing is figure out what's working best, why do you think it's working best, and then how do you go further in that direction. Now, in order to do this, I look at a couple of things. The number one thing that I look at is what is my hook rate? So that is the percentage of people that are stopping the scroll to look at my ad longer. If you're not sure how to set up hook rate, I have a link to a post I did recently on how to set that up. But basically, if you don't hook them in, if they don't stop their scroll, you can have the best ad in the world and the coolest product, and you'll never see that customer again, right? Because you didn't stop their scroll. So that is the most important metric that I optimize based on. And my highest hook rates, I tend to look at that first and then say, why do I think this hooked them in so well? So in the case of, Maria Went, for example, maybe this hook was just amazing. And I could assess, okay, is it the video of me walking into Louis Vuitton, or is it the, hook here with how to pick $1 million topic for your course? So in that case, I wouldn't know which was which, and maybe it's a combination too, right? Obviously. But if I'm trying to figure out, going further in a certain direction, and if I hypothesize that it is indeed actually this part, how to pick $1 million topic for your course, I would then just take that hook and I would put it over several other videos that I'm going to be launching, right? So then that way, if those videos all also do better, then I know that this hook is something that really works well and that a lot of people must care about making $1 million from a course, right? But let's say that it doesn't do that well on many of the videos, then I can say, oh, so it must really be like showing success. So I might, go crazy with that and think, okay, I'm going to rent a yacht and do some, video footage there. I'm going to maybe like show myself flying to Paris or something. I can really go crazy with like all the things that I would want to do. Maybe flying private, right? So there's things that you can like show success. I would try to get more B-roll of things like that. And then let's say that those videos don't do quite as well. Then I might think, oh, maybe I went too far. Maybe it's too far-fetched that somebody's flying private, right? So maybe it is something kind of middle price like Louis Vuitton. Like obviously it's a little bit more luxury. Not everybody can buy a Louis Vuitton bag, but it's not like crazy success, right? So that's an example of me iterating on what's working best and going further in the direction each time. Now, obviously making crazy B-roll like flying private, that is a little bit difficult. But a lot of times it's just like, okay, maybe I go back to the mall and I test walking into Chanel with a Chanel bag versus like Louis Vuitton with a Louis Vuitton bag, right? That would be a really easy test to do, right? So that's an example of iterating on what's working best. And again, the hook rate is my number one metric. But a couple of other metrics I look at are the click-through rate and then the cost per acquisition. Now, your cost per acquisition might be your cost per purchase. It could be a cost per lead if that's the goal, right? Okay, last thing that I want to share with you in this video. It is possible to make your ads absolutely amazing, but then when people get to your website or your landing page flow, whatever that path is that you send them through to either fill out their lead information or purchase, that it doesn't work that well. And it's important to separate these two things out. Your ad only plays one part. Its part is to get a click from somebody who's interested in buying. But if your website doesn't do its job well, then you're not going to monetize your traffic well. So one of the metrics that I look at to kind of determine how well I think my website is doing is my conversion rate. So if that conversion rate is pretty low, then I'm going to think, oh, my ads might be doing a great job, but I need to work over here on my landing page. And especially if you're going through this big research process and you're really copying people who are having crazy success. And imagine if, I do 20 ads that all have this structure, which this is a strong structure, And then if none of them work, let's say that my hook rate goes up, my click-through rate goes up, all of the metrics with the ad go up, the view rate goes up, the average watch time, but then I still don't make money. Well, I'm going to have to assume, unfortunately, that it's something with my offer itself, that people don't really see the value of my offer, or that my landing page flow just isn't that great. If people are getting stuck, something isn't quite right. And it's really important to separate those two things out because you don't want to be spending all of your effort and time and energy on ads if you've already fixed that issue and you have another issue over here that's standing between you and making a lot of money, right? So that's it for today. I know that was so much information, but this is my exact process that I go through to create really high performing ads for myself and for my clients. I know that if you follow this process for the next 3 months, you will see significant increases in performance for your products. So I'm really excited for you, and I will be back next week, same time, same place, with new fresh content for you on how to make more money from your ads. See ya.